Hi, welcome back to your homeschool doula. So one of the questions I get the most about homeschooling, the way we homeschool, is what is my tech high? Or what is that thing you use for reimbursement again? Or what is that charter school you go through? Like, what is that? Can you tell me about that? So today we're gonna go over my tech high and what it is and what it can do for you. As an overview, my Tech High is a third party that partners with local public schools, and it brings together the best of public schools and the best of homeschool together in one grand entity. So it reimburses your school expenses, that's the number one thing. Up to $1,000 for kindergarten and $1,700 for the rest of your school age kids through high school. Per year, per child. I don't know about you, but that's a lot of money to me. And that can certainly help with homeschool costs because, like, as you know, homeschool can be very expensive, or it can be expensive. So in order to qualify, you have to live in Utah. You have to have at least a kindergarten, so it's not a preschooler. And you go all the way through high school. So your requirements are to submit your paperwork at the beginning of spring, or I don't remember what month it is. You could look it up on the website, but beginning of spring, early summer, somewhere in there, you submit your general plan of learning. So very broad or very specific depending on your style of preparation for school. My style is very broad. I do not like to plan ahead. I do not like to pin down exactly what we'll be doing on exactly which dates. I like to be quite broad. So that's my style. You just have to put a general plan of learning. Like, for example, in math, Jimmy John will be doing math related stuff in his age category, including counting using blocks and counting using any manipulatives and maybe using rulers or calendars or clocks or anything like that. So just make it super broad. Or you can be as specific as this year we'll be using this exact curriculum and this exact curriculum and this exact curriculum for this long. And then we'll be pivoting to this other curriculum for this long with the help of this fourth curriculum for this long. Like, whatever you like. I like to be broad so that I can put stuff in as it comes up instead of tying myself down to these specific only things. So you also have to do a weekly summary, or not summary, a weekly overview, a weekly snapshot of what you have done that week, what your child has learned, just to prove that your child is doing something, that they are learning something. It does not have to be a snapshot of everything they're learning or every topic or every subject that they're learning, just 3 sentences on anything that they did that week that counts as learning. So one week I wrote, Miss Maylee helped me bake a cake, and we practiced fractions and we practiced reading numbers, and she helped me put all the ingredients in and we ate it as a family. And that worked perfect for her math that week. Or another week I wrote, this week the kids wrote letters to their grandparents and took a picture of their letters. Here are their letters. And that was all. And their letters were very short because they're children. And that counts. So you can write it right into their website, or you can write a blog post and send them the link to the blog post. You can send them pictures. You can record your child talking to them. However you like to do it, is just put something in every week. They ask that you do public school tests every year, but they are also super good about letting you opt out without any fuss. So you just click the opt out button and that is all. So my family chooses to opt in, but that's our family and we're fine with that. But if you don't want to do public school tests, just opt out and not a problem. They also ask that you keep track of your own spending, your own receipts, and then submit them for reimbursement twice a year. And if you're anything like me, I'm not organized, and that is the hardest part about it. But they give you access to a really good Excel spreadsheet to help you keep track of how much you've spent and what area that you've spent. So those are the requirements on your side. They also, so as far as the money goes, they reimburse almost anything. Sky's the limit. They reimburse any curriculum that is not religious based because they are a public school program. But if you want to do your own religious curriculum, that's fine. Use it. Just don't ask to be reimbursed for it. Ask to be reimbursed for something else. So non-religious curriculum, any book they'll reimburse, even if it's not your child's grade level, or if it's way older than their grade level, or way younger than their grade level, or a different language. Any book, I don't think there's any stipulations on that. They'll reimburse any book with My Tech High. Any educational experience, so museums and escape rooms, going to the zoo. I've heard of people going to SeaWorld and getting an encounter with a dolphin reimbursed because it tied in with their animal science study that year, or biology study that year, or whatever they put it in. Just be totally, think outside the box of what can be reimbursed, because most likely it can be reimbursed. Any technology. Technology is a big one because they're called My Tech High. So we always reimburse Netflix, Disney Plus, YouTube Premium, because we watch so many educational shows on there. We use that as part of our homeschool curriculum. We get laptops, iPads, printers, printer ink, and of course internet. We get our internet reimbursed every year. Not all of it, but up to their max amount. And any games. Have you heard of game schooling? That is such a fun thing. Any kind of board game, children thinking game, any kind of game that your children want, basically, can be reimbursed and used for educational purposes. We try to have a game day every so often, and we play Uno and Yahtzee and board games and puzzles, and we just get them all out, and there's so much reading and math and logical thinking involved, and it's so fun to watch them get good at those kind of games. Okay, and then school supplies. Books and papers and pencils and whiteboards and chalk and flashcards and anything you need for your homeschool room, besides furniture, can be reimbursed. So they are very, very, there's a wide range of things that they can reimburse for. So that is by far the reason why we choose to go to My Tech High. And they also give you access to different online curriculum through their portal. So we don't use a whole lot of their online curriculum, but so I can't speak to that, but they have probably a dozen different online activities, online curriculums that you can choose from and access for free because you are with My Tech High. So because I am your homeschool doula, I cannot only just say the positive things, even though you can tell I like My Tech High. It might not work for your family, and that is totally fine. So here are some of the cons of My Tech High. A con is technically you are labeled as a public schooler. So if that just bothers you, you don't want to be affiliated with public school in any shape or form, then My Tech High might not be the best for you because you are technically labeled as a public schooler, which is why you're able to get the reimbursements. You do have to answer to a third party. And again, if that is not your jive, if you don't want to answer to anyone, you just want to do your own thing, which in Utah, we are so blessed to be able to do our own thing without having to answer to anybody. So if you don't want to answer to anybody, maybe not go through My Tech High. If it doesn't bother you, then that's great. But you do have to answer and do your 3 sentences a week per child through My Tech High. You do have to keep track of your receipts. And again, like I said, I'm not organized. It's hard. But with time, it gets easier. And the first year is the hardest of keeping track of everything and getting it all submitted and reimbursed all right. But even if you don't get it correct the first time, they'll just hit you back and say, hey, this one isn't correct for these reasons. Will you fix it and try again? and then you just fix it and resubmit it, and you can do that as many times as you need to before you get it right and get the money. Another con is you have to pay for it up front and then get the reimbursements after. So that doesn't work with your family's finances. That could be difficult. They've just started doing a program where you buy it directly through My Tech High with select websites, Amazon being one of them. And I haven't tried that personally, so I can't speak to that, but that's a cool option that they're just starting to roll out. So that's cool. I recognize that could be a factor. And it's only in Utah and a few other states. Again, I'm not exactly sure which other states, Idaho, Colorado maybe, the surrounding states to Utah. So if you're planning on moving out of Utah within the school year, then that probably won't work with going through My Tech High. So those are some of the cons. So I'm interested in the comments of, have any of you guys tried My Tech High? Have you heard about it? Are you interested? What other questions do you have for me about it? What are your favorite things about it? What are the things that you don't like about it? What questions do you have for me? And I will link the website to My Tech High below so you can get more information there. Okay, so there's My Tech High in a nutshell. Hope you learned something. And again, my goal is to empower you to do your own homeschool your own way. Just because I like My Tech High does not mean that you need to like My Tech High. And if it works for you, that's awesome. If it doesn't work, you'll find something even better for your family. And I believe in you, and I believe that you know how to run your homeschool in the best way for your own children and for you as a teacher. So I'm your homeschool doula, and I'll see you next week.